Committee to order. Clerk will call the roll, please.
Good morning. Joe Baratka. Robert Kopish. Larry Palachek.
Here.
Patricia Stephen.
Here.
And Dennis Wertko. Thank you.
Items for discussion and possible action. Are there people online for public comment or communications? *6 to unmute yourself. Let the record reflect no one is here for public comment. I have nothing for communications. Does any committee member have anything? Okay, we'll go to item number 2. What's your pleasure on the meeting minutes of our March 9th, 2026 meeting?
Motion to approve.
I'll second.
Motion by Wartko, second by Kopish. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Coroner Department report.
Yeah, just a couple updates, and Chief Deputy might have more with actual activity, but they are still in the recruitment process at the state level. My understanding from the last call I received from them was they have done the interviews of 2 individuals that were interested in it and were qualified. They have selected one of those 2 to do a background check on. I received that information, I think it was the Monday before the Easter holiday. So the state warned me that background checks are not fast, and we have a holiday week and a half. You know, whoever might be doing it might be on an extended vacation time, whatever. So they are working on the background. If the background is clean, we will have an appointed coroner hopefully soon after.
Do you know where the application came from?
They were 2 local individuals. My understanding, there was 4 interested individuals locally. 2 of them ended up applying. So the 2 names I heard were local.
Are they going to be as colorful as our last one?
They'll be interested. No, they'll be fine.
Perhaps. If the one I think applied did, yeah, I would say yes. Now that's an appointment. Right? And then
the governor's appointment.
Yeah,
Yep.
and then we have an election
in
in
November.
November. Now, what about qualifications at the election? Is it the same as
18.
us?
Yep.
Gotta
18.
be 18, live in the
Clean-
county, and
Clean background.
yeah, that's it. Okay, that's what I thought. Okay, thank you.
Okay, I'll accept the coroner's report. District Attorney, Nick.
Sure. I did invite our new district attorney, Alexis Nash. So DA Nash started on Monday. I've met with her a couple times. I know law enforcement's met with her. All the staff's met with her, judge and everything. Based on my conversations with DA Nash, she's up and running. And I think today she had her first, she'll be in the courtroom with ADA, Ian. I don't even know Ian's last name, Ian. So she'll kind of start to see what the flow is. She is from the Milwaukee area. One of my conversations was just, how does our office differ from where you came from? And so we have 3 staff, one DA and one ADA, or a half ADA. In her unit down there, she had over 20 individuals. In the DA's office, they had 8 DAs and about 120 people that worked. And that didn't include assistant, these were the doers. So it's a little bit different workflow. She's excited because she'll, instead of just focusing on, I can't remember, and you might remember, not Bob Kopish, but Bob Hahn. Was she in the special crimes unit down there? Is that what it was called? Juvenile special. I mean, it was very interesting to learn about their office because they had special crimes, sexual crimes, general crime. I mean, it was all these different divisions. And so it was, here you deal with every piece of paper Down there, it's you just got that one form, and that's all you pump out as an employee is that form. Next, next, next. And so very excited to be here and get things up and running, and so far so good. So I did invite her. She said she was going to stop down. I don't know if she got busy, but we'll definitely get DA Nash to either a board meeting or one of these meetings just to introduce to the county. That position was appointed by the governor. That position is for 2.5 more years, so it would be all of this year and then 2 more. So it's the same cycle, I believe, as the clerk and the clerk, register deeds, and treasurer. So 4-year cycle. So at that point, DA Nash would have to run for the position. Any questions about?
Any comments from any of the committee members? Okay, Clerk of Circuit Court, Nick.
Right now, full staff up there, so that's going well. That will be the clerk of courts position is up for election this year, so papers can be taken out soon here, or already can, but signatures can't start for another couple of days. The 15th, you can start getting signatures. In general, it seems like everything's going well in the office. Like I said, full staff. People are working and getting their stuff done.
Any questions or comments from the committee on that? I'll accept the Clerk of Circuit Court report. Here comes the big one. Sheriff's Office, your moment in the sun, Bob.
All right. Good morning. The sheriff is at training, so you guys have to settle with me, I guess. So, I guess looking at the agenda, Nick, do you want to start off with the
ordinance? Yeah. So we talked about this at the last committee meeting, that there's a need to review what we do with what are considered dangerous animals and habitual offenders with dogs. So Brian wasn't in the meeting, but the chief deputy, myself, met with Bryce, who deals with a lot of these cases. So he kind of understands what needs to be, what the verbiage would be, and kind of how these cases pan out. Bryce also talked to our humane officer to double check, does this fall within how we want the process to work? So overall, what is in front of you is 2 of our current ordinances with updates. So that was the best way, rather than getting rid of an old ordinance or creating a whole new, it's 2 ordinances in front of you that are amended or would be amended. So one has a lot of verbiage in it, and then the other one's just defining certain words. When we met with Bryce, we talked about what works best and how to define these, because we don't want to get rid of anything we currently are able to do, but yet we need to make sure it's not just an animal that we're dealing with. Because I guess backing up a little bit, what we were having problem with is residents has a dog, it becomes I don't know, do we call it vicious? What are the terms?
I wouldn't say we call it vicious, because that actually has a definition
Yeah.
in our ordinance. But say we have a dog that was unprovoked and it bit somebody, and then a year, not even a year later, say 6 months later, there's another dog at this property, not the first dog, that then chases somebody down the road and bites them. That was the issue that we were having, is the owner may have gotten rid of the first dog that bit somebody, but got a second dog that is also going down the same path, biting people unprovoked.
So we had an ordinance that covered that dog, right? So the dog would be removed. We dealt with it. Problem is, then it becomes a problem again and again, and we were just taking a dog from a residence over and over. So when we talked to Bryce, there was a lot of discussion about, is it specifically the dog that we're dealing with, or is it the household, or is it the member of the household? So we had a lot of scenarios where Not myself, but if I were an individual and I had a partner, I wasn't married, whatever, the dog's registered to me, I get in trouble for this dog. And the ordinance says, okay, Nick, you can't have that dog. Well, okay, my live-in partner is going to get the dog, put it in their name, and now we have a same problem. So then we said, okay, now we got to make sure to cover the residents. So not only did we cover the individual, or Nick gets up and goes, oh, I used to live at 126 Cherry Street. Now I'm going to live at 158 Cherry Street. It was that residents that couldn't have a vicious dog. My new residents can have dogs again. So when we went through this, it wasn't just, oh, we want to make sure Nick doesn't get vicious dogs over and over and over. It's, we want to make sure individual, no matter where they move, no matter who they're living with, no matter how the movement of animals or people, that we could manage the habitual problem. So we made a couple different categories. That's why it started to get really long. You know, we had A, B, and C, the enforcement, and 1, 2, 3. So that's how we came up with it. Is we worked with the humane officer, we worked with Bryce, we worked with law enforcement to say, what's the scenarios we've dealt with in the past? What are the concerns in the future? Whether it's bringing a dog from Texas to fix it. We've had a couple of those where it's
Right. And that was also one thing we wanted to address with this ordinance was if these dogs have a history in another location, you know, like the example of Texas, and they try to bring it up here to fix it or whatever, and it's still an issue here. We don't have to wait for 2 bites in our county. You know, we can utilize whatever record we have from Texas towards this ordinance as well, as long as it conforms with our statutes and our ordinance.
So the process today would be, you guys are getting a draft of what law enforcement agrees would be a workable ordinance, along with our legal saying this would be an enforceable ordinance. So you'd receive the draft, you review the draft, if you feel comfortable with it, you'd make a motion to go to a public hearing, which would be at your next law enforcement meeting, would work best. So we'd be May. And then if that passes at that time, you would move it to the full board for approval, which would be the June meeting.
Do you want a motion to that effect, Mr. Chair?
Yes, as long as our corp counsel reviewed it and the sheriff's department has gone through it and Mindy had a chance to look over.
Yes, she did.
Yes, I would entertain a motion to accept it as presented and
Well, I will make that motion as was stated prior, rather than try to repeat it.
Accept as presented and move to a public hearing.
Yeah. So you got it all down there, Meredith, right?
Yep.
I
And
do.
we'll probably want to do 2 motions. So the
Read it
first one
back to-
would be section 223-44-1, and then you would do a motion on section 223-19, or I suppose you could do one, as long as you name both, because it's 2 ordinances actually.
But they're both the same thing with the public hearing.
Yep, they'll both go to public hearing. The reason there's 2 is that one's the definition. So 223-19 is definitions, and we added under habitual offender or for violations under chapter 223, and then we added a section 2, 3, and 4. So that's our definition section of the ordinance, and then the actual ordinance is the -44.
Okay, let me take a shot. So we want to approve the amendments to ordinances 223.-19 and 223-44.1 and forward them to public hearing.
Correct. Yep.
Okay, got it.
so we're going to combine those 2 ordinances.
Not combined, but you're just making a motion that both ordinance will go forward, into one motion.
I think we probably should, to keep it clean, then have 2 motions. So we'll vote on this one first,
We'll vote on 223.
223-19.
Okay. And then we'll do the same motion, but change the ordinance number.
Yes.
Okay, so I'll make that motion on 223-19.
Okay, motion by Kopish,
Second.
seconded by Patty, or did you have a question?
No.
Okay.
Second.
Any further discussion?
Yeah.
You wanna read that?
I will read it back.
Sure.
Hang on a second. Okay, I have a motion by Kopish, second by Stephen, to approve the amendments to ordinance 223-19 and forward it to the public hearing. Do you want in May? Oh, public hearing.
Public hearing, yeah. It is public.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
So then I'll make the motion on 223-44.1, the same language except a different ordinance number. Okay.
Second.
Motion by Kopish, seconded by Stefan also. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
The other thing that just to be aware of, so public hearing sometime in May, whether it's at this or at you could always do it at a board meeting too. But anyways, so we'll do the public hearing. It'll go to the full board for approval, and then it takes 30 days after that before it's enforceable. So from that approval point, you put it in the newspaper. You have to give the public a grace, a learning period. And is it 28 days or 30 days? It's a period that goes in the paper, and
Yeah, depending on what class notice it is.
yeah.
It's probably the class 2.
Well, that's different. The
Oh.
note, I'm saying after it's approved, there's a process that you've posted the new ordinance, so you've educated your citizens.
Right.
But that's just the process. We'll continue to talk about it as we go through it.
All of this is just to protect the people that are part of our team that take care of that. So as long as you're comfortable with it, we're comfortable with it.
Okay, I guess the next thing we have is the equipment updates, the radio project. So this is still an ongoing project. I believe Nick and I have a meeting coming up on the 17th with Motorola to discuss a couple of different pricing options, equipment options with them. I don't know where the RFP stands. I guess Nick can talk.
Yeah, we'll be talking about that executive next Thursday. So we'll be talking about what the RFP would look like, where we're going to get the money to do that.
Okay. So yeah, so we are still in discussions with Motorola and Bug Tussle and things of that. We had a meeting a couple weeks ago with Bug Tussle again on our needs for tower placement and things like that for the best coverage that possible here in the county. So as far as staffing updates go,
Bob, excuse me, before we move on, could you maybe update us on the whole situation with Bug Tussle and towers and how
Sure.
this is going to move forward and whether we do one thing if we have it and one thing we don't,
Sure.
just so where we're headed here?
Yeah, so as Bob alluded to, I've been part of more than just the meetings that chief deputy or the sheriff or whoever was involved from law enforcement and Northway. So what chief deputy was talking about is we met with Bug Tussle to just say, we're working on a radio project. Where are you at? Are you going to be part of this? Are we going to do anything? They didn't tell us much different than when I met with Bug Tussle and the board chair and the vice chair. In the law enforcement version of our meeting, some of the biggest issues were there's still, even if they did all the towers that we originally talked about or even altered kind of what they're thinking placement, we're still really struggling with that. Is it southeast corner? It's really Timms Hill and beyond, so to the county line. It just low population, low utilization. It's really hard for them to justify moving a tower even farther to that corner. And they already have a tower location on Odison Road, which it does reach that critical area of Timms Hill. So when law enforcement and Bug Tussle and I met, the biggest thing we kind of focused on is we want cell phone coverage and then we want this radio coverage. And where we highlighted the needs was less about just 100% coverage, but more of where do we have large gatherings, you know? So we understand in the southeast most corner of the county, there's not a park, there's not a gathering space, but Tim's Hill has their cross country meet, they have family reunions, you have enough where there's gatherings. So that was a vital location that we want to make sure wherever that tower is, your cell phone service works for it, and whatever our radio project would cover that. So at least we'd have those areas covered. And then we talked about, you know, we have Flamborama and we have the downtown, we have the Phillips on Tap or the Wednesday or the Thursday night music. So those were the highlighted things we talked about. We talked a lot about Round and Pike Lake because there is a densely populated area, especially during the summer. And then even in the winter, there's enough people out there that they still need access to cell phones or a proper way to call, or if there's a missing person or a homicide or whatever might be out there, we still need our radio. So again, a higher area of coverage that we're worrying about. So that was kind of the law enforcement side of it when we met, was just here's our needs. Okay. When we met with the chair, vice chair, myself, and there was 9 members of the Bug Tussle team. And at that meeting, there was a lot of discussion of where the heck has this project been? Where are we going? The CEO was present. Steve Schneider, same name, different person. So Steve Schneider was there, he was the chair there. He was their executive chair, board chair, whatever. He came out of retirement. Now he's their CEO again. He spoke for about 45 minutes of the hour and 20 we were there. Both the chair and vice chair voiced a lot of their concerns of like, why is this taking a year? We want to know what the project is before this project moves anywhere, because we don't want to have somebody come back and go, oh yeah, we promised 10 towers. Now it's going to be 4 towers and we need an extra $10 million. I believe they heard us. And so there was no movement on the project to say we're already moving and we're getting these towers done, we're doing this. So the chair was very adamant that we're going to give you a timeline and say within the next 60 days, which fell within our next board meetings, we want to see a updated project plan and where the budget is. And then I also asked for, we want an updated pro forma, which tells us how are they going to pay for this. So that was a lot of the discussion. They still, and Brian, you can give more.
Well, I'll just
yeah.
briefly, I think they understood our concern. We were pretty blunt. We didn't hold back any questions as far as, we heard rumors that they weren't paying their bills, and that was laid out to them. And this previous CEO that's back now, I do believe he knows what he's doing and he's going to address this. We're either going to do it or not do it. And I think we'll know within, probably 30 days now we got left.
Yeah. With those discussions too, we talked just about how we had a lot of concerns. There was a lot of rumors, whether it was the bills being paid or they still haven't put their audit in from 2024, which affects the bond, potentially could affect the bond. They assured us, no, we had some bad leadership. Blah, blah, blah. So they told you everything you wanted to hear. But it also felt like there is some ability to move on our project.
I think that the CEO, Steve, he was sincere. I don't think he was a used car salesman trying to purchase.
And there is going to be a transition to Mike, will be their new CEO. He's the COO and they're legal right now. The other thing is Mitch Olson is no longer associated with our project. He's been reassigned. So we've been assigned Jesse Lane will be our main contact, which he's been very much better at communication and getting back and forth. On the other side, so I've had those meetings. I've also sat down and had meetings. I had one with emergency management and this team of 8 people of engineers. So we talked about again, kind of what we talked about with law enforcement, but a little bit more in depth of, I don't know, Roxanne knew a bunch of the terms for like different type of radio waves and emergency management stuff. So they listened to us there. And then I've also been part of a statewide group that has Bug Tussle 1 and Bug Tussle 2 counties in it. And we've met and discussed a lot of what other counties have been going through, such as, you know, Taylor County. And I can talk about them because that's very public. They've been going through, they signed on with Bug Tussle to do their loop and additional projects. Well, their projects are about half done, you know, I give or take, I don't know exact numbers, but, and the money they associated with it is they need more to continue the project. So we saw that as a theme across several counties. There was one recently that was working with a Bug Tussle, and they already came back and said, we need more for the project. So that statewide group, we are slated to, at the end of the month, I think it's 17 counties. So I'm the chair of this group, I guess. I'm the one that put it together. But there's 17 counties. We've created a list of, I think it's about 15 to 20 questions that kind of outline what we talked about in our county private one, or our individual one, where it's why aren't these bills being paid, or if there is a rumor, you know, really specific. We as a group, we have a legal representation, so they're actually kind of the one that's going to push it, and they represent all our contracts, so they know our contract. We're meeting at the end of April with the CEO, with some of their team, and just saying, we need to know what's going on in all these counties and how you're going to communicate better, because I think that's been a big problem, is communication, not just with us, but for all the counties. But we're also seeing that was one of Steve Schneider's big thing, is we are going to back to communicating. We were really bad at it under our last CEO. And this Jesse Lane, I know based on my 17 county group, everybody got a call from Mr. Lane to set up meetings and do stuff, which they haven't had. A lot of them haven't had a good communication for a while. So all this pushing to say that there is something happening statewide with Bug Tussle, as in they're moving back to projects and getting things going. That whole group is also asking for performa. We're asking for status. We're asking for like a construction calendar. I'm going to be working in this county these months. I'm going to be working in this county these months, and you know where they're going to be, so that we don't just keep going, are you coming? Are you coming? Are you coming? Oh, you're here, or you were here, kind of thing. So getting back to our general project, based on the engineers and when we met, it looks like we're getting down to six main locations, plus 2 that aren't part of our project. So there'd be 8 total towers. There's is it Ken Catawba, the one that's already up? It's got a light on it, but no users, like no equipment. So it's a steel in the ground, they call it PTA, I think is on the forms. But so it's there in the ground. Addison Road has been marked, permitted, everything is ready to go. From the owner, I hear of the land, I've heard nothing's happening. From Bug Tussle, I've heard, oh yeah, steel's ready, we're gonna put it up. So that one is not part of our project because it was started before our project, but they are ready to go with that one, is my understanding on all their maps and from what we talked about. The other locations are west of Butternut Lake. The one that we're fighting right now is the east of Park Falls, closer to the Pike and Round. The issue we're having with that one is Oneida County. Is it Oneida? Whatever's right on that border, Vilas, Oneida, whoever it is. They put one up just, I think it's like a mile to the east of that, the lakes there. So they don't want to double up and put one a mile west of the lakes, but that's what we need. You know, we want that location for that fire, Fifield fire, for us, for everybody up there. There's one east of town here, and was it the Swamp Road? Do you remember what it was on east of here? Do you remember the map? Yeah, way out by Musser. So it's moved in southwest of Musser. That was one that they were happy to continue moving forward with discussing because that was a big dead zone for us. The one west of town, west, I got to keep my bearings. West of town here was going to go just east of Sioux Lake. That one, my understanding is a go. So that's a dead area. So that was positive for us. And then the Kennencatawba area one we'd be a part of. And then there was one on Odison Road. So the two southern ones are the ones we're not concerned about, but it would have been nicer to go a little farther east, but that's just where the coverage was. So we've already, with our legal backing, I've made it very clear to Bug Tussle because you guys gave me the signing authority to release any money. We've made it very clear to Bug Tussle we will not release money without pro formas, without some of these actual documents, because that's in our contract that we don't have to release it unless you provide the proper documentation to. It's not just here's a bill for fiber. Well, that doesn't tell me where we're at in the project. I can ask for additional information. But in general, we're moving more than I've seen movement in a year and a half or since we signed off. They were very honest and said we told our staff not to talk to Price County. In
Say that
general,
again. They told their staff what?
they told their staff that right now we're not working in Price County. Don't worry about Price County. So, and I'm generalizing. That's not, they didn't go like bluntly say, don't do it. It was, there's nothing going on there. We got other things to do. There's no reason to communicate at this time.
We really need them to know that we're way past 11th hour and we need to fish or cut bait, or we need to look at some serious borrowing to get our emergency system up into the 21st century.
Yeah. And we're still going to have to look at borrowing. That's not, do we need to borrow 3 million to do all the equipment, or do we need to borrow 7 million and put up towers, or 10? I don't know what the number that's the sway right now is.
And that was communicated to them.
Yep.
It was brought up about, we need to know now which way we're going to go because we're end of life with radios.
So
And we're beyond end of life with our equipment.
about releasing the money. So the loan that was taken out, we have control over that original money.
We're
Now-
the signer,
now
the bond. Yeah.
The repayment of that bond though, that's up to them.
Correct.
So for drawing the money and spending the money, we have that control.
Yep.
Because I imagine with no interest or no payments for how many years that interest is getting added to the loan. So
Yeah. So the first 3 years are interest or no payments. Year 4 and 5 are interest only. Year 5 and beyond is interest plus principal. So
Right.
total payment.
well, this is still up in the air from what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
We're still don't have anything concrete here, do we?
No, nothing's concrete. That's why they're going to be coming to our next couple board meeting or our next board meeting.
The only thing we have right now is better communication, but that's
Yeah.
it.
So
No-
they're going to
no
be coming
fact-
to board meetings and
facts.
talking to us?
The second one in April.
The second one?
Yep. They're going to be the
And
executive.
Mitch is
next-
the guy that's been coming all along.
Yeah,
He's
Mitch
not,
is-
he's not,
He's not on the project anymore.
how do you know whether to believe what they're telling you? I mean, here we sit 2 years into a project and nothing's happened and everything we thought was going to happen didn't happen. When do you start believing what they're telling you? Just like AI, you don't know what you're looking at?
Hallucinations. Yeah. After the meeting,
I
we
agree
said
with
that.
you.
Yeah.
We don't know. I mean, they've got new leadership. We
Yeah,
told them straight out, we feel like they ghosted us.
yeah. Well, and you can't, and
They
you
did
can't,
disagree.
you can't get at Bug Tussle's financials because they're owned by Hulbert, right?
But they have to file those with the bond agency. That's
Oh,
what
the bond agency's getting them, just on Bug Tussle.
Yeah, correct.
Because if you look at Hulbert, I mean, they've been losing money year after year after year after year. It's terrible.
their
Their loss is a third of their income. It's terrible. We're talking 40 some $1 million losses.
Yeah.
I saw you look at that and you think, well, holy cow, what are we dealing with here? I don't know how they can keep running with the kind of losses they have.
There's a lot of sister and
Oh,
brother companies and
yeah. I'll
and they
print 'em
talked
out.
about
I couldn't believe it when I was
Yeah.
looking up.
they talk quite a bit about they are now exclusive. Well, I shouldn't say exclusive. Their primary contractor is now Michaels. That was a big part of their last year and a half, 2 years. They were really struggling with contractors, and they had bought their own contracting company to try to control that. They sold that contracting company back to the original, or sold it again because it just was. So they're now back on Michaels as their exclusive. They've been able to work with them much cleaner, much better. So, and then going back to our radio project, like you said, Larry, we know this is the 11th, this is the 13th hour. We're past the 11th hour. We'll call it that.
Yeah, we are.
That's where we're bringing in that third party, and Northway has been great. I have nothing wrong with Northway, and they're helping us navigate this, but I still think there's more to it that we want to make sure we're on board with. But we have the option just to continue using the 3 towers we have, the north repeater, the south repeater, and the current. It's just we need different equipment. So say we got all the towers and we wanted to relocate and it was great. Don't quote me on any of these prices, but that would be like a $3 million project. If we said, oh no, we want to make our own towers in those same general locations or find different locations, whatever. Now we're talking 7 to 10 million because you're land and all kinds of stuff. If we go back to just the 3 towers, that might be a $3.8 million project, right? Because we would just need bigger equipment. We would need updated equipment, but we already have the tower located. We have the co-location already. So that's what we need to start navigating. What does the future look like? Is it going to be a simulcast thing with another county? Is it going to be, and I'm not saying this is what we're doing, so again, but like Bayfield and Ashland County, they are now a single dispatch center. So they work together. Well, is that going to be the future in 10 years when everybody's got to update? Is it going to be a regionalized something? Because technology will know where every officer is, will know maps will be great, and you're just getting people to where they need to go. Do we need to make sure our system jives with something like that? So we got a long way to go.
Yeah, I mean, I think we need to take care of our needs. I mean, we can't just keep going on and on and on and on and on, hoping something good happens.
And that's what we're.
And so that's got to be like this maybe is the plan unless something changes. What do you think, Bob?
Right. Well, and again, I think, this RFP, meeting with a consultant to figure out because as Nick had previously said, this project got really big, really fast. And I'll be honest with you, it is way over my head. Basically, what I know is I need a radio that I know is going to work out in Pike Lake. I need a radio that I know is going to work down in Kennon or, west of Park Falls. That's what I know. Going back to, do we just use our 3 towers that we already have? Well, I think we already know that this central tower here is going to have to be replaced, right? It's not properly grounded.
It could use some more height.
Everything you're saying is accurate, but we don't want to get too far ahead. I think the biggest thing right now is we're at an intersection. We either do it on our own or with Bug Tussle, and we have to figure out if we're going to trust Bug Tussle or not, based what they tell us within the next 30 days.
Right.
Yeah.
And then once we do that, then we go whichever direction that takes us, one way or the other. I mean, we can get in the weeds, but there's no sense of wasting a whole lot of time on which way we're going until we know what towers we have, if we have to build our own or whatever.
All right.
We did also include, just so everybody knows, TJ's been in on these meetings because there's a lot of in-house technology too, and where all the cabinets and all the it's going to be Roxanne, TJ, the sheriff's department, finance. There's a lot to this, and it's going to be well worth it to have that consultant be the making sure it all jives together.
And in my mind, what sold us on going with Bug Tussle was the fact that we were getting towers to hang our stuff on for free, basically.
All over the
Making a
county.
little money, but
Yeah.
I think that's what sold the project, at least in my mind. But now we got to figure out if the project's for real or not.
Well, I hate to see us go get 3 months down the road and not be any further ahead than we are now.
No, we
You know,
got to
the
make a
clock is
decision.
ticking, and I think we need to have that minimum what we need to do, formulate what that is.
Yep.
And if we don't get anywhere in a timely manner with Bug Tussle, then we switch and we go that route.
Yep.
That's what
agree.
I would do.
Joe has a question.
Along with that, I think we need a commitment on tower locations. So like Nick just said, they're walking about out by Pike Lake. So I think part of this whole discussion is in 30 days, a commitment that yes, we will put them here. And if they don't, because the towers was the determining factor, I think, to move forward on this. And if they're not going to provide the towers, they told us they would, then I think we're done and we move on.
Yeah, and we, well, Brian and Jeff and I think a big part of it was don't ask for more. You know, we started this, you guys came with all this can be done for 15, and it was your fault if you didn't estimate that right, not our fault we were excited, we worked on this, we got it ready to go. It got not pushed through, but it was quick, right? It wasn't, whatever. What we don't want them to do is go, well, yeah, you guys keep requesting these 6 towers. Well, that's going to be $28 million. And so we need another 15. Like that was a big part of Brian and Jeff. Their message was it's 15. What are we going to get for 15? And don't expect blah, blah. And a lot of the expense with that was, are we okay? And this was a TJ thing, a sheriff thing, a Northway thing. How are those towers going to be connected to each other or to us? And we would love fiber in the ground, right? Fiber is going to be the most consistent, the best thing you can have. But we also understand on that one out in Musser, if at first it has to be a microwave where it's shooting over the air tower to tower, we understand, but then at least we know we have the tower there, and so that reduces the cost by a lot, because the fiber in the ground is what's really expensive.
I trust doing business with Northway. We've done business with them just short of forever. They're a reputable company and we've always been satisfied with them.
Yeah, they're good.
So what are the dates now going forward? When we got to start making decisions? We got 30 days yet before they're going to get back to us? And then based upon that, then we'll have to decide whether we go this way or that way. So that's within 30 days or 45 days,
Yeah.
whatever it is, we're going to
By
have a decision
summer,
made.
yeah, by July, that summertime, really going into the next budget, we're going to have
Yeah.
enough information to decide which way we
Yeah.
need to go.
Yeah.
That's kind of where I'm looking at it. Is we knew this wasn't a this year project. I mean, we need to do
Well,
funding for it, but
I guess I think this communication thing is more important than cell phones.
oh yeah, yeah.
From my perspective,
We were led to believe by Mitch Olson that they were going to jump right on our project. Yeah.
thank you for the update.
I do some work in the background, meetings.
I don't like what I'm hearing, but I thank you for the update.
Okay. Anything else on that? I think we beat it to death and sent a message for now. Staffing updates, Bob.
So with the staffing updates, there's actually quite a bit of movement here in our office. So Deputy Dave Westnick has turned in his letter with his intent to retire, I believe in June of this year. That'll be after 25 years of service. So with Dave's retirement, plus we have an open position already. We did hire Dawson Hauschild. He is set to start with us at the end of May. He's going to finish his bachelor's degree, and then from there he's going to start training with us in May. To fill Dave's position in June, we hired Brandon Boggs. So we'll be sponsoring him through the Law Enforcement Academy. He's finishing up his 2 years associate's degree at CVTC, and then starting in May, he'll start the Law Enforcement Academy over in Rhinelander, and we anticipate him graduating that September timeframe, and we'll start him on our field training program. We are still interviewing for part-time staff with corrections and dispatch, as well as patrol. Our hope is to, have some part-timers for when we look at our retirements here coming up in the fall, that we can just transition right into a full-time position come this fall. As far as retirements go, so K9 Dixon is looking at retiring in November, along with Lieutenant Joe Janik. We have not received the letter from Joe yet, but in talking with him, it is his intent that him and Dixon retire in November. So it'll be a sad day to see those two leave, but they serve their time. So I'm sorry, what's that? Yeah, I don't think so.
Joe will give that dog a good life.
I'm sorry, what's that? Lieutenant Janik or Dixon? Boy, Joe's been 20, 25. I'd have to ask him. He's been here a lot longer than I have. So,
How old is Dixon?
Dixon is,
It's going on his
10?
7th or 8th year. So he's in between that 7 and 8. That was our goal, was 8
Right.
years, I believe.
but I want to say he's 9 or I believe he's 9 years old
Age
right
wise,
now,
but
yeah.
service wise.
Yeah, service wise, he's been with us for 8. So, with that, I guess talking more about the department. So far year to date, the sheriff's office has had 635 law enforcement calls, I guess, where we generate a report, and that's a referral to another agency. Of those 635, 65 have been through our humane officer. So again, that's about 10% of our calls. The humane officer has dealt with basically 26 general animal complaints, 11 animal bites, 5 animal welfare, 1 nuisance animal, and then 22 lost or found animal calls. Going to the jail from January to April 7th, we've had 94 bookings so far year to date on that. Currently the jail has 16 inmates, so we are down quite a bit from where we were about a month ago. And moving to dispatch, so far there's been 2,110 CAD calls. So that's basically calls to the dispatch that is generating a response from somebody, whether it's fire, EMS, or law enforcement. Our dispatch center has also, so far year to date, received 21,157 calls to the dispatch center. So that's a lot of calls so far. I guess moving on, one thing I would like to point out with our investigations. So there was an article printed, I believe it was in, it was APG had printed the article regarding scams in Wisconsin, and Price County is the #1 county in the state for the number of scams that we receive. So investigator Taylor Drake is primarily our financial crimes investigator, and he is extremely busy. I believe it would be accurate to say that investigator Drake is applying for between 15 and 20 search warrants and subpoenas a week with a judge, just in the number of scam complaints that we have right now. I guess to notify everyone, the one of the big ones that the Phillips Police Department and the city of Park Falls, the type of scam that we're seeing quite a bit of right now is check washing. It's where a business sends out a check. That check gets intercepted, the check is changed and then cashed under false pretenses. So we're seeing a lot of these check cashing scams. We're also still seeing, the love scams where, they meet an individual online, fall in love with them, and start sending them a bunch of money. And then also the third one, probably the third most common one, is the phone call that your grandchild has been arrested and is sitting in a jail in Utah or California. If you send us, $10,000, we'll get your grandchild out. We see that quite a bit. I will encourage everyone that is listening that if you receive that type of call, please call us. We can verify if your grandchild is in fact in jail. We have that ability to do that. So please give us a call before you send any money. Give us a call. So I just wanted to point that out to you guys. If anybody would like to see the article from the APG, I do have that right here.
Patty?
Patty?
I work at a credit union in town. At least one person a week comes in. That's at least 50 a year. And those are the people that do come in. And it's finance on, it's either a debit card usage or they get that urgent notice and they panic and they click on it and call that number. They are so good at faking it. So, but we get at least one a week. We have a whole fraud department that's probably overwhelmed.
Yeah.
Explain the check washing thing. How do they get the check?
From what I've seen in a couple of cases, that they're intercepting these in the mail.
They're-
Say a business sends it out through the mail.
So they're pulling it
intercept-
out of the mail. So there's somebody in that system
Correct.
that's in cahoots with whoever.
So
well,
for-
that I don't know.
Yeah, no, but
Yeah,
how,
but
I mean, once
yeah.
you put it in the mail, it's
Right.
US Post Office, so how do they get yeah.
one protection like for the county and a lot of businesses. So when we print all our checks, we actually send a file to the bank of the check number, or there's a whole bunch of information. So in order for that check to be cashed, it has to match this system. And so we've had a couple where it's like that number and that name don't match and it just declines them. So we're not out the money and that person's not out the money.
One more question.
Yeah.
Those numbers you had to, with the dispatch, you said there was 2,110 calls, and then you said there were total calls of 21,157. What's the 2110 then?
2110 again. That's going to be our CAD call. So that is when say you call the dispatch center asking for a fire truck. That generates a CAD call.
Okay, CAD
Yeah.
stands for what?
Call. I
Something.
would have
But
to
you're
get back to you
requiring
on-
a
yeah.
service
It-
to be,
Right,
somebody's got to respond to it.
Yes.
Yeah,
So it generates a call, whether a fire truck's responding, an ambulance is responding, law
Yep.
enforcement is
Okay,
responding.
thanks, Bob.
But then there's the other, like yesterday, there was some stuff going on and I had to call the dispatch. So like that counts as a call coming in, but it was non-emergent, it was part of a situation going on. So it doesn't initiate another CAD moment.
Right.
It just is a call.
And so again, like the 21,000 phone calls that our dispatchers receive, they don't necessarily always generate a call. It could be somebody's calling looking for the sheriff and they get transferred to the sheriff or, to myself, whoever.
Do you think the calls are up in our county because we're a retirement county, basically?
As far as the scams go, yes, I would say we have more because of the elderly population. I think that these individuals that do this, they prey on the elderly population, and especially what I think they do is they inundate people with technology, right? You see these cases where people are going to Dollar General or Quick Trip trying to purchase 20 gift cards to, Nike or Amazon, and then they're, giving those card numbers out to the suspects in this case. So I think they're, utilizing the technology and they're preying on the elderly population. So going back to that, I am very happy with the work that Investigator Drake is doing. Right now, we have several nationwide warrants out for individuals that he's identified as part of these scams and these schemes. He has been able to, especially when it comes to cases where the money is being transferred into Bitcoin, he has been able to stop at least some of that money and and is working with on getting that money returned back to the victims.
And you said we were the #1 county for scams
Yes, number one county. Where's it?
I think it's per capita.
per capita?
I can't remember. I saw the article, but 'cause that would be hard to believe that we just have more scams than a Milwaukee that's got 1 million people in the region.
My wife has an elderly aunt that lives in Longmont, Colorado, and she got fleeced out of $400,000 over a 1.5 year period by people that were taking her money and going to reinvest it for her in gold.
So again, what I will put out there is before you send money anywhere, please give us a call. Give your bank a call. Ask those questions before you send the money out. Because once the money is sent, it is very hard to track and it's even harder to get back.
They very seldom get any of it back.
That is, unfortunately, that is correct. It gets moved pretty fast. I guess, is there anything else with the scams or anything like that? Okay, I'll move on to our rec officer. So our snowmobile season, it was a very good snowmobile season for us. Throughout the season, Deputy Ader was able to log 221 hours of patrol. He issued a total of 18 citations and 23 correction or warnings. So I guess as a breakdown per month, November, there was no patrol during November because the trails weren't open. December, he was able to log 31 hours of total patrol. During December, he had 20 contacts with individuals, issued two warnings, both of which were failure to properly display the trail pass or registration. January, he logged 52.5 hours of patrol. And again, I think he was limited due to the extreme cold. I did tell him that if it's, 10 below zero or colder, that I didn't want him out there on patrol on these trails by himself, 15, 20 miles away from town. So, but again, he was able to log 52.5 hours of patrol. During that time, he had 148 contacts. He conducted 2 crash investigations, and then it did assist one individual with a broken down sled. He issued 15 citations, 1 for a modified exhaust, 1 for no trail pass, 4 for no registration, 2 for no snowmobile safety certificate. 3 citations were issued for speeds greater than 55 miles an hour during hours of darkness. All of these were issued on lakes in which the sleds were traveling in excess of 70 miles an hour during hours of darkness. And then he did issue 4 citations for riding off trail. Again, he gave 14 warnings during that month, again for snowmobile safety certificate or failure to carry the certificate, registration citations, as well as operators giving permission for someone to operate without a trail pass. In February, he logged 109 hours of patrol. He had 62 contacts, 1 crash investigation, assisted with 1 stuck snowmobiler, issued 2 citations and 7 warnings. And then in March, he was able to get 24 hours in before the trails closed. So again, as compared to years past, this was a very good season for Deputy Ader to be able to get out there. And he made a lot of contacts with individuals out on the trails.
Does he have a radar unit on the sled?
He does, yes. Yes, so he does have a radar unit. That radar unit was, for a short time out of service. He was patrolling during a very cold day. He accidentally dropped that radar unit, and because it was so cold, it hit the sled and it broke the front face of the unit. But we were able to get that replaced, and he was up and running again. And so, any questions on our rec officer?
Did we, it goes with the record, did we have a safe snowmobile season? I don't recall any major accidents,
I'm sorry, what? Yeah, that
Was
I
there-
think we had a total of 3 snowmobile crashes.
but not a major, right?
We, knock on wood, we did not have a fatality. We did have, I think our worst one was a Carver sled that occurred west of the city of Park Falls. And those are usually aren't good. But knock on wood, we have not had a fatality. So. Okay, and then I think with that, that is all I have for our department.
Does any of the committee members have any questions for Bob while he's here? If not, thanks for your report, Bob.
Yep, thank you.
Moving on. Have all the vouchers been around? What's your pleasure on the vouchers? Motion by Wartko,
A second that motion?
second by Baratka. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Date of our next meeting is May 7th. We've exhausted the agenda, and at this time I will declare the meeting adjourned.